Let's talk a little Cavs yesterday.
Ooh.
Or talk about it today after what happened yesterday. It was a catastrophic collapse versus the Clippers. 26-point lead turns into a 2-point loss. The final plays down the stretch left a lot to be desired. I feel like I've said that multiple times on multiple occasions over the last month and a half. G. Bush, I'll start with you because your tweet kind of put it nicely yesterday, if you want to say. But what the hell do you make of the Cavs right now if they're blowing a 26-point lead and going 1-4 on this 5-game road trip?
That put the nail in the coffin for JB. There's no coming back from this. I just watched something on, people talked about back in the day when, they were trying to come up with the nuclear bomb, and they had people would get sick by having like radiation sickness because they would just be touching, it's called it's tickling the dragon's tail. You should go look at it. It's actually on YouTube. Go check it out. But what usually happened is people would touch it and be like, I'm good. And they would go away for 2 weeks and then progressively would get sick. And then they get a little better and say, I'm good. And then they just get really sick and be out of here. This game is the equivalent of touching what we would call the demon core. And there's no coming back from this. Because when you look at it, it's a culmination of everything that we've been talking about for years. And, there's this thing about, with the Cavs, and I've always spoke about it, is, JB and the Cavs always seem to get a little less scrutiny than the Browns. They usually get a little less scrutiny than the Guardians. But now there's no escaping this. I mean, JB Bickerstaff, this is a fireable offense. You can't be up that many. You can't be up 30, 40 points and then just throw it all away. I almost said something else. But the fact that you get down and you get to the fourth quarter and you can't come up with any plays to get a stop, you can't come up with any offensive plays to score and kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, and then you can't even inbounds the basketball correctly. And I told people, and I wrote on Twitter, I said, listen, man, this one is a fireable offense, and I'm going to just be honest with you, man. As a coach, what does JB do well? There's no extra.
I mean, nobody's defending him anymore. There's nobody. I can't imagine a single person defending him left.
But see, the thing, my problem is this, and I get angry because we saw this last year.
We did.
So this is what happens when I always say tell people there's only about 5 to 10 teams that is trying to win every single year. And when they came out with this propaganda, and I'm calling it propaganda, it was propaganda by Kobe Altman. It was propaganda by everybody that was working in an organization. The propaganda was, we saw what it was with JB last year when they got embarrassed. Then they come out, 51 wins. I said, they done wrote up this propaganda is great. We're going to run it back with the core 4. Man, listen, that propaganda just put us right back to where we was, and you're reminded in this game, in this microcosm, this is why JB is a starter coach. He's a good coach to get young guys involved. He's a young coach to pat people on the back. But listening to his press conferences, if y'all want to get on Stefanski, listen to his press conferences. He said, you know what, the Clippers kind of caught us off guard. How did the Clippers catch you off guard? How? You was up 30. At some point, you got to call timeout and say, listen, this game we will not lose. Somebody step up and make a play. Earl, I can't do it with these people.
He's not built like that, man. And I've told you time in and time out, man. JB Bickerstaff holds nobody accountable, including himself, right? Like, he never gets up there and say, you know what, that was a horrible-ass coaching job by me. He never gets up there and say, my players need to play better.
Facts.
He continues to make excuses for himself and everybody on this team. Attitude is a reflection of leadership. And JB Bickerstaff has proven time in and time out that he's not a consistent, effective leader, right? We've seen so many different outcomes this season of the Cavs blowing big leads or getting blown out by teams that they shouldn't be blown out by. You got players out there on the court refusing to shoot the ball. Nobody is held accountable for anything. And it seems like that statement yesterday, how the hell did the Clippers catch you off guard? You came out guns a-blazing in the first half and you couldn't sustain that. You couldn't even make adjustments when you seen the lead starting to shrink, like time in and time out. The Cavs have gotten to the point, man, to where I'm low-key detached emotionally. It's like I'm at the point, man, to where I really don't even care no more how this season ends. And that's crazy for me to say that. If it's a first round exit, it's a first round exit. Because you're right. You had no business running it back with the core four. You had no business running it back with the same coach expecting a different result. Like, that's insane. That's absolutely insanity right there. So they just continue to show that we shouldn't have faith. They continue to show us that, like, what we thought was different this year is not at all.
One thing from Chris Fedor's article after the game last night, I want to read you word for word. And to your guys' point, it feels like, and it's a shame, you never want this to happen, but it feels like there's just a lame duck situation for the Cavs heading to the playoffs. We all know the inevitable for JB, but this is a direct quote from Chris Fedor's article following last night's game. Quote, multiple players openly questioned the defensive strategy afterwards. They wondered why the Cavs didn't attempt to blitz the scorching Paul George and force someone else to play offensive hero. We have reached the point of the season where we are 3 games away from the playoffs. And in the locker room following a bad loss, players are now openly questioning why they did and or didn't make certain adjustments. And that's never a good sign for a head coach.
We talked last week about firing JB, and somebody said, well, what's the point? It's so late in the season. Well, maybe that will create some buzz for the players. Now, guys, I agree with everything you said, G. I agree with everything Earl said. I agree with everything Mike said. Let's not give the players a pass either.
Oh, they don't
like,
get
they're
that.
playing like crap across the board.
They don't get that.
Donovan Mitchell got hurt. The team fell apart. Think about it. The Cavs had that stretch that everybody's hanging their hat on where they went 18-2. The rest of the season, they're 3 games under 500. They are not a good basketball team. They were a good basketball team for 6 weeks. The rest of the season, they've been garbage. They're a nothing basketball team. Don't con yourself into think Donovan Mitchell's staying. He's not. Why would he stay?
They're not better than. I don't want to just come out and plainly say it, but there's a reason why LeBron James is still allowed to play in the league. There's a reason why Kevin Durant is still like getting 50 a game. Because the level of softness and indifference on the court is infuriating.
Yeah.
Like, we see these guys, you watch the Cavs play. You tell me when you see Darius Garland upset, Mobley upset, Allen upset, Strus upset. You don't see them, and the coach stands there like this.
Well, G, yesterday, after the comeback was complete, Steve, take tag board full, but I'm not sure you guys saw this video. Russell Westbrook was dancing and taunting the Cavs. The only one who said anything was Tristan Thompson.
But, Mike, isn't that always the case, though? Like, if it's not Donovan Mitchell, it's always TT.
Look at that.
Like, what did Tristan Thompson do?
He just walked up.
But it's the fact that he did something. Like, it's the fact that he did something. Yeah, it ain't no big deal in the grand scheme of things, man. But, like, he wasn't having it. And you see nobody else on this team that have that type of attitude. You talk about when do you see them upset. When do you see these dudes assert themselves?
Never.
I think G is right on the money, man. There's too many players to play with, not just the Cavs.
No fire.
There's no fire. Like, look at the women's champion. I know and we'll see it in the men's game tonight. Like, I know that's the championship game. It's not a fair comparison, really, but regular season, the NBA just sucks. I find it completely unwatchable. Guys play with no fight, no toughness, no heart. This team stinks. I'm with you, Earl, and you're a much bigger fan than I am, but, like, I'm not excited about it. At least last year, I was excited about the playoffs. Ultimately, they fell on their face. I feel like they have no chance of winning.
I feel like this, and this is how I know I'm getting older. You know, I grew up watching Kobe Bryant play, right? That Mamba mentality is real. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, the regular season don't matter. But all of us sitting on this panel couldn't agree. You could never tell Kobe Bryant that.
Well, and all the players before him.
Every single game mattered. We're dealing with a different generation of kids, right?
Yeah.
Like these young men are not built like that. They not born in the 80s. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there's some guys.
There's a small pool of dudes that's like that, man. But they don't take this stuff to heart the way that they used to. It's strictly business for them at all times.
That's why I respect LeBron. I respect LeBron because he puts pressure on executives at the highest level. Kobe Altman got an answer for this. He got an answer for this. Like, just be 100% clear. You went out and made the trade. You went out and made a trade for Donovan Mitchell, and you have no backup plan. Zero. There is no backup plan. So when you lose this dude, that's why he keep coming up. Yeah, see, I'm not that smart. You keep talking about these core four. You say that stuff so you keep people, if we lose Donovan, we still got 3 of the core 4. You're not playing those games with me. I already understand what it is. Donovan Mitchell is not about to sign up for this because he look around. He like, dang, we got another max player on the team, but as soon as I don't play, it's collapse.
Yeah. Complete collapse. Yeah.
Like, they're extremely soft. I don't understand. They got people in there that look like they've seen a ghost, and there's nobody to hold them accountable. And you running around like a crazed barking dog at these referees. But when your team give up 30-point leads, you're doing this. Just looking like this, like you wanted a toy soldier. You don't do nothing. And then you sit up there in every single press conference. Well, they hit shots. Well, I thought we had good looks. The shots didn't go down. I thought our guys fought. I thought our guys were in the game. We just didn't. Stop.
In the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, guys played hard every game. Regular season matchups were must watch. When Bird and the Celtics played Magic and the Lakers in the regular season, it was must watch. When Jordan played against Isaiah Thomas, when Jordan played against Bird, when Jordan played against Magic, these were must-watch regular season games. I remember like NBC basketball on the weekends. Remember that? You'd have the game of the week, and we'd all be watching that.
Man.
Because those guys wanted to beat the other stars. Man. Now it's all nonsense.
What do y'all think it is, though? Because, like, you're talking about, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 2000s. Like, is it something about the generations that's changed? Like, what is it about how players used to play with so much more passion, so much more want to back in the day? Like, basketball was more than just a business. It was more than just making money. Like, I know Kobe was built different, and that's why I use for an example, but it was a lot of players that had that mindset. They took this game seriously. They cared. It just don't seem like these dudes got that same type of get up and go about themselves that the players back in the day had.
I'm going to ask you, Big Nuggets, because this is, I played basketball in high school. Right? And there was a level, we had 2 football players, me and my dude Antonio. We played football, but we also played basketball. So by the time the state championship was over, they had already been playing basketball or whatever. So we understood, like, they already been shooting. They already been doing their thing. We got to come out here and be physical. Like, we're going to muck the game up a little bit until we get into basketball shape, right? And there's something that happened. Back when this is 98, 97, This is around the time when AAU first came around. AAU first start dropping. And what AAU did was it made people elite. Like, you became an elitist. Like, I remember people who would play in high school, right? They wouldn't play with their high school in the summer. It's like, I'm doing AAU. Then they started playing AAU and then be like, well, we're not going to play basketball on the street. We're not playing pickup games. We don't play games in the neighborhood. We play other teams and we travel. It gets to the point where I remember you get to college and you got a bunch of kids that is just like, they brother-in-law the drill. They like, oh, there's no physical play. There's guys that are going to be like, yeah, let's go around and dunk the whole game. Let's shoot threes. But in total, McNuggets, maybe it's just me, but back in the day, if you was nice, you played everywhere.
Ryan Russillo has been saying this for a long time. The skill level in the NBA has never been higher because every player has a personal trainer when they're 12 years old and they're working on individual drills, but no one plays real basketball. And part of the reason the one and dones in college don't work, and part of the reasons in the NBA you see less team cohesion, is everyone is so individually talented and they've done things in their own respective way since they were 11, 12, 13, whenever they get these personal trainers, that it doesn't mesh in the same sense it used to. And we still have the women's game. We'll talk about it in a sec.
Yeah.
South Carolina replaced 4 of their top 6 players from last year, but they played 9. They play great together.
Yeah.
Iowa had been together for 4 or 5 years now. There's a team element that you can't replicate.
Right.
And even though individual skills are at an all-time high, more guys can score 20 points. The dribbling, the shooting, never been better. The team cohesion and the ability to win, doesn't come as quickly as it used to.
Never
back
been
in
worse.
The 90s, 20s, and 2000s.
And think about it, Mike. First of all, there's other elements.
We got Jay in 1 sec, so we got to wrap up.
You look at the foreign players in Europe and stuff, they practice way more. Like in AAU, how often do you practice?
Once
They're
a
just
week,
playing all games.
I played AAU for 4 years. We practiced once a week, and we play 8 games a week.
In Europe, I was hearing, I don't know, it was Popovich or somebody saying, like, They practice 3-4 times a week, and then they play 1 or 2 games. That's it.
It's a different mentality. It's
Right. And part of it is, this is where analytics is a bad thing, a negative. Is all these nerds, and I'm a pro nerd guy, but all these nerds in basketball, they want the guys to not play as many games. That's like the basketball culture now. And as you said, that's how you learn to be tough, is playing street ball. That's how you learn no blood, no foul.
You got to be tough, mentally tough.
And to bring it all together, McNugget said it, and I think you got to this point when you talk about cohesion, and, guys are individually talented,
Yeah.
but LeBron spoke to this point. You got a lot of people wanting to play one-on-one, and they really don't know the fundamentals of basketball. They don't know the fundamentals of playing the team as a team. They're great individual players, and it's hurting the product.
It is. I think the product's the worst it's ever been. I'm probably in the minority there, but I don't like it. And I loved the NBA when I was a kid, but not anymore.
We're going to bring Jay Crawford in 1 sec. I just want to make sure people understand. We didn't talk about the final inbounds play that the Cavs drew up last night.
Good gracious.
We don't have time. We'll get to it later if we have a chance, but you want to criticize? We talked about JB, big picture there.
Does it matter at this point?
Individual minutia things you can pick out as to why last night did not work. We're going to bring Jay